Hi, Leo. Happy birthday. We are in Leo season, and since Leo is the sun, we're going to do a new read for August. This is your August tarot reading since we missed July for a bunch of signs. We are going to do spotlight reading. Spotlights and blind spots. 8 cards on each side. We will clarify. Using the Sun Moon Tarot for one and then the Deviant Moon Tarot for the other. Let's get started with your magnetic poetry. Please check the description box for everything you need to know, including a place on the internet that has been around for like 20 some years that is free for you to run your natal chart. To find out your rising moon and Venus sign. To find out your rising sign, you will need to know what time you were born. So let's get started for you, Leo. Messages from the magnetic poetry for you. Let's give it a stir. And get out your pen and a piece of paper so that you can jot this down. Who would? Somebody's asking a question, either who would blah, 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 or who would? We also have the letter S. P. SP. Oh, and a Y. Ooh, that could be spy. Who would spy? Okay, there you go. Or this could also be a D. So this is actually reversible, this letter. But there you go. Let's go ahead and have you jot those down before we get started. You might have already noticed in the previous readings that I am doing an overhead view. It makes it easier for you to be able to see the imagery on the cards. Also, people enjoy seeing the shuffling of the cards, although some of these decks are a little bit bigger. So it's difficult to shuffle when you have smaller hands like I do. Nonetheless, those are your words. Let's get started on, so we're going to use the Grim Tales. Actually, I'm not going to use the Grim. I want to use the Yokai for you. Yokai Tarot for you. This is going to be, on this side, we're going to do what's in the spotlight for you, and this is going to be the side where the blind spots are for you. And again, like I had said, we are going to clarify those, followed by oracle messages from the Rebel deck. And then we will get you an I Am Power Pack card for an affirmation you can use through August. As I had said, these are some thicker cards, great quality cardstock, so it's harder to shuffle them. We'll still do our best, okay? And remember, you can fast forward through the talky parts if you want at the beginning of the readings. One more for you. And then I get started. I only take flippers and jumpers, a maximum of 3. I probably will be a little bit more selective about the multiple cards jumping because we are only doing 8 cards on each side. But let's get started for you. Twist for fairness, as always. Okay, Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. What is in your spotlight for August? The spotlight on Leo for August. What does it pertain to? This will be a little bit shorter of a read. So first off, we have the King of Swords in the reverse. There's a criminal element here. Somebody who's not being honest, or is being dishonest, rather. King of Swords. King of Swords in the reverse. Normally, the King of Swords is considered to be an individual who is on the wrong side of the law. King of Swords in the upright is normally somebody who is... The King of Swords in the upright is an Aquarius card, of course, but it's also, I guess maybe I should just not shuffle and just talk about it. King of Swords in the upright is typically an individual who is a judge, magistrate, lawyer, parole officer, corrections officer, somebody who's on the right side of the law, works in the law profession, highly strategic individual, somebody who's very legal minded, but also very logical rather than emotional in their decision making. In the reverse, it's going to be somebody who's, you know, nefarious, or there's a criminal element associated with something that's in the spotlight right now. There's dishonesty happening, where somebody who's living more in their emotion rather than their intellect when it comes to their decision making, and that's being highlighted for you during August. Shuffling backwards now for some reason. But yeah, let's see what else is in the spotlight. I'll also read dignities as I go through this. And again, we will clarify because it's going to be a little bit shorter of a reading, having only 16 cards in the spread than rather than 18 cards in the spread. What else in the spotlight for Leo? Spotlights for Leo. It could be that, you know, you're being, we'll find out when we clarify, but it could be that you're engaging in a criminal element or dishonesty when it comes to something on the side of legality, skirting the law. It could also be where you're living in emotional thinking rather than logical and strategic thinking. You could also be encountering somebody who's, you know, kind of engaging in some criminal activity. Not so great. Be careful. It's kind of a warning for you. They want to shine a spotlight on that. Sorry. So I'm going to take this one because it's face down. Again, because I'm only doing 4 on this side and 4 on this side. This is what I would consider card vomit. So we're going to take these away. King of Wands in the reverse. Okay, that's you. Living in the scorching side of the sun rather than the warming side of the sun. This is somebody who's potentially feeling disconnected from the self, disconnected from their leadership energy, potentially because they're not being as strategic as they normally would. It could also be that you're hearing no, coming up against obstacles rather than, because I see the sun is so prevalent in this card, right? So instead of hearing yes or getting wishes granted, you're kind of coming up against obstacles and roadblocks, which is making you, kind of throwing you for a loop and putting you in an emotional state rather than a logical state. But you're feeling a disconnectedness from the self because there is this dishonesty that seems to be happening. You could be feeling as if your leadership is being questioned at this time. There's an ending here. There's an end of a cycle. It could be because of dishonesty or because of emotionality rather than strategic, logical thinking. Something could be put to an end because there was some legality that wasn't followed properly. But also because you're not feeling connected with the self. You're not, you know, operating in your right capacities. There's an ending that's happening. World card is endings. It's also beginnings because of endings, but again, the beginning comes off the heel of an ending with the World card there. Like I said, we will clarify, but I first want to move into the... Okay, so we have 2 here. Oh, no, we have 3. Okay. And so we have the 8 of Swords in the reverse, mental prison that you're coming out of. There's clarity that's coming about as a result of this. The clarity and no longer being up in your head. It's almost like there's validation that's happening. It's almost like something ending is kind of going and giving you that that aha moment. Oh, I see. You know what I mean? Like you kind of figured it out. You figured it out the hard way about something that you were initially worried about, or now you can move on from something that you were locked up in your head about because something has ended and there's now finality to it. Finality being related to Virgo energy here. Finality with a Virgo, or you no longer have to worry about a Virgo. The Knight of Coins is the slowest moving. This is a strategic individual. So you might actually be finding out that You no longer have to be locked up in your head about something because there is a way to strategically move forward. You understand that this has to be a slow moving forward. But you could also be moving forward in a slower capacity as far as dedicating your time, energy, and resources to something because you have two different ideas about where to dedicate your time and energy moving forward. And so you want to be strategic about it. The action that you'll be taking will be strategic. You're not trying to be up in your head about it anymore. There's a very freeing feeling about it, but it comes off the heels of an ending. This, it kind of seems to me like the beginning in and of itself. Where the element of no longer being in that mental prison allows you to move forward and take action from a more methodical manner rather than an emotional manner, or a manner where you kind of felt like there was a sense of dishonesty, or like you could even be engaging in some activity that wasn't necessarily legal. Or like you could be getting in trouble, and now you can move into a place where if you're moving slowly and taking action on something and spending your time for a worthy cause, you can make decisions about the things and how you would like to divide your energy more strategically and more logically, and connect back up with the self. Over here on this side, blind spots, things that you are not aware of right now during August, or moving into August at least. What do we have, Leo? Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. I think I'm gonna put these like this. Leo's blind spots. We have that one. What is it? Devil in the reverse. Blind spot for you could be that you have something that you're engaging in to the excess or to the extreme. This is indulgence to the extreme. The devil. The devil in the reverse is when you're shopping too much, or drinking too much, or gambling too much, or there's something that you like to do but it's getting to the point where it's an unhealthy habit. This could also be unhealthy obsession, unhealthy fears. We can find out what that is. We will. But it's more about an internal dialogue with the self that has to happen here about what you are unhealthily obsessed about, what you have unhealthy fears about, what you have unhealthy indulgence in. Capricorn card there, the devil. Okay. Five of Wands in the reverse. There's peace that needs to be made. This is normally a card of conflict. The Five of Wands is normally, five guys beating each other over the heads with sticks in the Rider-Waite Tarot. And when we have it in the reverse, this is a peace that needs to be made over something or with somebody that you are arguing with. That's in your blind spot. Well, that's card vomit. Blind spots. Normally, if I was reading dignities, I would say peace that needs to be made with a Capricorn. But again, I'm going to be clarifying each of these individually. Justice, Libra in the reverse. If we were looking at timings, we'd be saying this would be Cancer season. This would be Aries season. Because timing, we would look at the opposite of the zodiac wheel when we're looking at reversals. Justice in the reverse. There's something that's not fair, not legal, and imbalanced. Because we have this underneath the devil card, it feels like there's something that's off kilter that you're indulging in. And again, I had already said this with the devil anyway. It could be unhealthy obsession about something, unhealthy fear about something. And then we have the Nine of Coins with the Two of Swords. I'm just going to take them for what they are, right? Nine of Coins in the upright is about reliance, self-reliance, and independence. So this is a reassurance for you that you may not necessarily be aware of or paying attention to with this time. Make peace with the fact that you will be okay, that there is an independence that you will retain through whatever it is that you're going through during August. You will be able to stand on your own 2 feet rather successfully, having the resources to preside over your own time, your own energy, your own efforts, and your own coin. But at the same time, there is a pause button that will be required for that to happen, where you do need to put the blindfold on and sit at the crossroads before making the right decisions, with the 2 of Swords there. And it could just be that there's a need to sit at the impasse, to sit at the fork in the road for a period of time in order to really realize that the independence is there and that you have the ability to retain your independence in that regard. Okay, so let's clarify. On the, oh my gosh, sorry, objects closer to the camera will appear larger. So we're going to clarify the spotlight side of things using the Sun Moon Tarot. Starting with our King of Swords. What is it? Who is it? We'll clarify the blind spot side using the Deviant Moon Tarot. I just want to check and make sure that I'm on camera with all my cards. Cool. Okay. But, yeah, sorry, I'm still in my pajamas. It's Sunday morning, and I'm chilling. That's the other beauty of doing my cards like this, is that I don't have to worry about having a face on and being cam ready. So I can get readings out a little bit more, in a more timely fashion. All right. Hey, Leo. One more, and then we'll get started. Okay. The King of Swords. Tell us about the King of Swords. Who is this character here? How do you know who they are? What is... Oh, okay. 3 cards we have for you. This is going to be like a sentence. I know it already. 2 of Wands in the reverse. This is somebody who's impatient. You could have the emotionality could be coming about because you're impatient, or it could manifest as impatience. The reason you could be, you know, in a more criminal side of things, or this is a warning, is that you could actually, without knowing it, make some decisions. I'm just kind of reading these together. You could be making decisions that could screw up in some way and break a law without knowing it because of impatience. This almost looks like a speeding ticket to me, which is funny. It's not actually funny. But then with it, we have the Knight of Cups, Prince of Cups in this deck. There is romanticism that's involved here. So if we were reading this as a person, it's somebody who's impatient and romantic, love bombing energy. Interesting. So if this is a person, this could be an Aquarian individual who's love bombing. Knight of Swords is usually the individual who rides in on the white horse to rescue you. I'll save you. And he comes in with the flowers and the poetry and the music, and he's just right there, paired with the 2 of Wands. Sorry, maybe I should be doing this with this guy here. Paired with the 2 of Wands, that's hasty energy. That's impatient energy. 2 of Wands is normally patience, the ability to wait, sit back, survey things, look over everything before you embark on the journey. But with the Prince of Cups paired together, that would be an individual who's really hasty, isn't waiting around, and really kind of forceful in engaging in that romantic energy. With it, we have the 3 of Wands. This is kind of, it could be you telling this person to hold back, but this could also, like I said, love bombing energy, right? I can't wait to love you. I'm all about you. Just comes in hot and heavy, and then breadcrumbs afterwards. It's like they come in forceful, and then they kind of pull back. Love bombing, then breadcrumbing, you know? That's this person, you know. Because then at the Three of Wands, you kind of sitting there on the precipice of actually embarking on the journey, juggling. Ooh, that's another good one. The juggling element is here as well. But they're kind of standing there deciding what they want to do. There are decisions that they're making about the wands that they have. So I feel like this is the love bombing energy, and it's somebody who's up to no good and could actually be somebody who doesn't necessarily, I wasn't even thinking it was going to take a romantic turn there. That's weird. But this is an individual, an Aquarian individual who's love bombing somebody and then breadcrumbs them. And they could be somebody who is on the wrong side of the law, or I don't necessarily know that it's a criminal, like an ex-con, but it's somebody who skirts the law, you know, does things that are definitely illegal, but gets away with it. Because remember, he's the opposite of the judge. He's the guy in the defendant's box. Let's see, you know, for you sitting in the reverse, and this could actually be you, because when you experience this energy coming at you, you don't know whether you're coming or going. It gets you in a space where you're not necessarily feeling as if you can lead. You're not feeling confident. You're not feeling like yourself. You don't really, you're kind of feeling disconnected from the self, right? And I know many females out there, and myself included, when we get into that space where we're encountering that type of energy, definitely you don't know if you can trust yourself or trust your decision making anymore, right? Tell me more about your energy, and you know, what can you do to fix it? Or you know, this is stuff that the sun is shining a spotlight on it for you to pay attention to during August, right? That was the intention of the reading, the truth that you're losing yourself when you're connected to this person. And if I was doing timings, because this is an Aquarius in the reverse, we could say, yeah, full moon in Aquarius is coming up, but also this is Leo season. So the truth is that you're losing yourself. You're losing yourself. And there's truth in that. You're becoming disconnected from yourself. You're not making decisions correctly. You're losing your ability to lead proficiently, because you've got all of this energy being thrown at you that is, you know, somebody who doesn't know their ass from their face. And it's making you feel like you don't know your ass from your face. It's bullshit, you know? Tell me more. Tell me more about this truth. Okay, Queen of Wands. And you know what? The truth is that you need to take back your energy. Sit in some Aries energy, Queen of Wands. Be the leader. Be the leader. You know, take back control. Queen of Wands, again, Aries energy. An individual who leads with a firm, steady hand and is definitive in their direction and is dominant. So this is about regaining control. And the truth is you need to regain control. The truth is that you can regain control. And you'll do so by not indulging, you know, this bitch boy over here. Sorry. Am I sorry though? I don't really know. Let's look at the World card here. What is the ending here? And maybe that's the thing, is that when you know, take back control, you're able to end things in a way that is very decisive. And I think that's the thing, right? The Queen of Wands is decisive. Aries individuals are very decisive in their decisions. When they hand down a decision, it's not only the final word, but it's from a confident space. And so there's very little arguing about it. There are no two ways about it. Tell me about this World card. Tell me about the ending in the spotlight here for you during August. What is the ending? What is the ending for Leo? Yeah, it's like Mr. Hot Stepper. 1 foot in and 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Sorry. 1 foot in and 1 foot out. They're impatient. They can't wait to love you, and then they hold back. You know? Justice in the reverse. Okay. There's the ending, whatever ending this is here, feels like it's not necessarily just, but there is truth in it. You see how the sword is upright here? If you can zoom in, if you see how the sword is upright, even though it's a justice card in the reverse, this ending doesn't feel balanced. It doesn't feel fair. It doesn't even feel as if it's legal, but it has to happen. And maybe that's why it has to happen, is because there's something here that's kind of like, breaks, full stop. There's something here about this individual that is 100% shady as fuck. And you're like, no, I will not indulge in people who are a part of the criminal element. I will not indulge with individuals who are dishonest, because justice is also about truth. And you're not willing to indulge somebody like that. So full stop, ending there. But the ending, whatever this ending is, if it's not linked to this person, this ending, it doesn't feel fair, or it isn't fair. It's not balanced. There's no equilibrium in it. There could also be an end to a legal situation where there's somebody who loses. And you could be the one who's losing. What else is in the spotlight here for that on the ending, on the world card? Tell me more. Tell me more about that. You got justice in the reverse twice too. So it's interesting and clarifying. If I wouldn't have clarified that it came out over here on the blind spot side, is that you don't know that something is a little shady, that it's not necessarily balanced, fair, equal. Or you know, just. Okay, with that we have the King of Wands. There it is again, the King of Wands in reverse. This ending makes you feel unbalanced. Because it isn't fair, it makes you feel disconnected from yourself. It makes you feel as if you weren't able to lead. It could also be that whatever ending is happening is happening because you've been disconnected in some way, not necessarily present, not necessarily demonstrating good leadership qualities as a King of Wands, or you've been like, somebody could actually say you've checked out. Or that you're over emotional rather than warm, that you're scorching. Let's think about the sun, right? The sun can be nice. It can help things grow. It nurtures the life on the planet, but it also gives you sunburn, you know? So think about it from that regard, right? That King of Wands, you know? He comes riding in with that, you know, wand on fire. He can start a forest fire if he's not careful and responsible with it. And again, there we go. There's a key word right there, is that maybe there's a lack of responsibility, and somebody saying, yeah, you're not only, you're demonstrating that you're not responsible in your leadership. And there's the ending, right? Okay. But again, you know, just going back to this over here, if this ending has to do with this King of Swords in the reverse, it could actually be the reason the ending is happening is because because of the impact on you, you know, and that you're just totally losing yourself, right? Let's look here at this piece right here, because I feel like it's its own separate thing. Freeing yourself from the mental prison. But again, you know, this could all just be one story where now you get to actually walk out of that circle of swords and feel freer, like you're no longer, you know, in a victimhood mindset, because the Eight of Swords is a victimhood mindset. And we did say that once you do realize, the point of realization that you're not a victim in a situation allows you to move forward with some semblance of strategy and realize that you have choices about how you want to spend your time and your energy. Let's see. Let's see what that's all about. Leo. Okay, Three of Cups. There's celebration here. There's celebration here. It could be three women getting together to have drinks. But there's celebration over an idea or over the fact that you do have the ability to move forward and spend your time and energy and efforts on things like getting together with friends, getting together to celebrate stuff. Maybe you've been sitting in this victimhood mindset so long that you've kind of been becoming reclusive. So now you can actually go out and enjoy things that you normally wouldn't have. Tell me more. Oh, that's too many cards. Oh, we do have the Temperance card. You could also be coming to a point of realization about the need for healing, and how it's been difficult for you to heal. You could have a time now to spend on becoming more patient in situations, or working on your temper, working on spending your time dedicating yourself to the worthy cause of patience, and spending your time on the worthy cause of how to dedicate. It's as if in this card you now have the opportunity to examine why you were so hasty in your decision making about stuff. You're taking the time to heal. There's a need for healing and examining why you were so impatient, or why you indulged in the behaviors up there with the impatience, that love bombing energy. Why were you so quick to entertain it? Tell me more. Tell me more about this. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And how it's a cycle. You're healing a cycle. Death card in the reverse. Scorpio energy with Sagittarius energy. Could be the Scorpio Sagittarius cusp. Also could be where we have a situation, Taurus Gemini cusp season, but because if we're looking at timings, but it could also be, examining unhealthy cycles, freeing yourself from the victimhood mindset gets you into an empowered state where you can look at what your unhealthy cycles are, heal old patterns. This is patternized behavior. And you could be talking about that patternized behavior with your friends now that you finally have time to, get out of your head and out of your apartment or your house, and really look at those patternized behaviors. You could be talking with your friends about that. Why do I repeat cycles? Seems to be the conversation. Okay. Let's move over into the other side of the coin. On the blind spot side, we're going to clarify using the Deviant Moon Tarot for that. I like the littler decks like this because they're so easy to shuffle, but they're perfect size for clarifying. One more. Looking first at that double card there, if you remember, we were talking about excess and indulgence, unhealthy obsessions and fears. So let's see. Tell me more about this devil in the reverse. Oop, we have it, or we have one that is flipped, or, well, no, this one didn't flip. It's this one. Although we have judgment there, but it's not the one. This is the one. Meeting with somebody. an unhealthy obsession with somebody meeting with somebody else for drinks, or breaking bread with somebody. An unhealthy fear about this as well could be the problem. You could have an unhealthy fear centered around an individual meeting up with somebody else for drinks. The Two of Cups, the one that follows the Ace of Cups, where it's the first of romantic stirrings or emotional connection, and the fear is related to these two individuals meeting up for drinks. It could also be that you have an unhealthy indulgence that's related to meeting up with somebody for drinks. And it's in your blind spot right now. So this is something that you're not, it doesn't necessarily occur to you in your waking life. Tell me more. Tell me more about that. Okay. You feel like it's going to be something that somebody else is going to tell you about. Yeah, this is a fear that you have, that something's going on behind your back that you're going to find out while you're busy working away with the sickle to get all these things chopped down. Eight of Wands in the upright. You feel as if the little birdie is going to come to you with the information while you got your back turned. And that, you know, there's messages about meeting up. This is an unhealthy fear that you have. Or alternatively, that you're indulging in this behavior and somebody else is going to be communicated to the individual whose back is going on behind. You see how this person's back is turned while this is happening? That somebody is going to communicate it. The blackbird is going to communicate it to this individual that this is happening. The peace that needs to be made that's in your blind spot. The peace that needs to be made over old conflicts and grudges. Let's talk about that for a second, Leo. Whoop. Law of Three. Let's take them and let's see what we have there on that front. We have, okay, so there's heartbreak associated with this, and that's why it's been so difficult for you to heal that, is because there's heartbreak associated with this. Doesn't that look like the most painful card you ever seen? Three Swords piercing somebody. You feel as if it was done behind your back or when you weren't looking. So there's an element of betrayal here as well. It's not necessarily just that it was heartbreaking, the conflict in and of itself, the fight, but it's the disagreement, but it's also hard to make peace with it because it was so painful, and there was an element of betrayal associated with it. You feel it was cowardly in some way. There was no bravery attached to it. It might have also made you lose your temper. So it triggered you in some way that made you, again, feel disconnected with yourself, because this is your card, the Strength card. Could have happened during Aquarius season, so could have happened during a February at some point, early February, but it made you lose your temper, or it really was about a loss of temper. It wasn't necessarily about anything else. Could have been, but it is a cycle. It is the merry-go-round of crazy with the World card here, and the argument continues to happen over and over and over again, but it needs to be made peace with. Whatever it is, it needs to be put to bed. Otherwise, it's just going to continue to be the same feeling of heartbreak and having the outburst over it. There is, like I said, an absence of bravery here. It could either be that you feel that it was cowardly how it was done, or it could be that it was simply a loss of temper in and of itself. The argument that happened that caused so much pain was just it was just a loss of temper, but it keeps happening. And because it keeps happening, it's hard to make peace with it, but you do need to make peace with it nonetheless. Okay. Justice card in the reverse. What is this? I feel like this is that, but we'll take a look at it a little bit more. Justice card in the reverse. What is this lack of fairness, balance, and equilibrium that you don't see? Well, it's something that somebody wants to apologize about, or you intuitively know that you need to apologize about it, or whoever has engaged in this semi-legal or illegal or unfair behavior intuitively knows, Cancer, by the way, this is the card of Cancer, but they know intuitively that they need to apologize, or they understand that it wasn't fair, and so they intuitively are coming to you with a small apology. You may not necessarily feel that it's adequate, though, because we have the Queen of Cups here with that cup, and this guy's coming with the small, stupid little fish in a tiny, pathetic little cup, right? Tell me more. Could be a Cancer in and of themselves who does not feel this was fair, or who wasn't being fair. Lastly, what do we have? Okay, there was a lack of investment. This could be the breadcrumbing that I was talking about up here. You didn't feel it was fair because whoever this was wasn't really investing anything. That's what's not fair, is that they weren't interested in putting any actual energy into anything in the first place. And that they can't appreciate what it's like to put in the time and the energy and effort into something to grow it into something of worth, you know? Lastly, what we have for you here, before I get into the oracle and your affirmation for August, let's look at the final thing here in your blind spots, which is a card of reassurance for you, the Nine of Coins. That you do have the wherewithal and the potential to actually be independent, to stand on your own 2 feet, to preside freely over your time and your energy and your efforts. But you do need to take the time to consider which direction to move forward in, from a space where you don't have outside input. Okay, tell us more about that. I almost feel like it clarifies itself, but let's see anyway. Oh, that's too many. Well, no, it's 3. Let's take them. Okay. I have this rule about 3. And again, so we have the Justice card coming out here in 3 different decks in the reverse. You are having a hard time moving forward from the fact that something has not been fair. Something has not been equal in between two. It hasn't been equitable in between 2 people. And because something hasn't been equitable in between 2 people, you're having a hard time believing that you can independently and freely operate of your own accord when it comes to money, when it comes to time, when it comes to the tangible things that we spend and that we essentially, that we spend on the earthly plane, being our time, our money, our energy, our effort, right? With that, again, you know, this is saying to you that when you come out of meditation, there will be a realization that you're not an option, you are the option. Think of the, oh, I'm sorry, no, that's not the 7. That's the, well, it could technically be a 7 because, you know, cards in the reverse are its predecessor. But that, you know, yeah, that you're not an option, you're the option. If somebody wanted to walk away and they return, remember that things were not fair in between the 2 of you. Things were not equitable in between the 2 of you. When you come out of healing and meditation and that rejuvenative state, you'll realize that if somebody's coming back to you after walking away in search of something better, that, you know, you are of worth and that you can stand on your own 2 feet. And that your time and effort are worth something, and that you can spend them as freely as you please. You know, you're not an option, you're the option. Remember, an 8 of Cups in the reverse can easily be interpreted as a 7 of Cups, right? But I think that you could actually encounter, this is telling me that you could also encounter somebody coming back after walking away from an emotional connection, and you could not expect that because it is in your blind spot, but you really need to be in a state where you're not letting those external factors affect your decision making with the 2 of Swords there underneath, because you are able to stand on your own 2 feet. You're capable, fully capable of being the King of Wands. This over here, this individual over here just put you in a space where you didn't feel like you were. And that's not true. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's look at your Rebel deck. Get an oracle message, no BS oracle message for you. See what Leo needs to hear. That you are the boss. You are the boss of your time and your money and everything. And nobody can tell you anything different. And that something really has not been fair. You know, the Justice card in the reverse, Aries season. Something during Aries season. But also potentially a Libra individual who you feel betrayed you, could be. But something is definitely not fair, or somebody did you wrong, or there's like something illegal that was done against you. Tell me, what is the advice for Leo during August? Could just be during August, but it could just be overall what's in your, you know, blind spots, or sorry, your spotlight and your blind spot. Let's see. Just because we got two, I'm just going to put them there. Yeah, you need a good fucking cry. Get the ugly cry on, let that shit go. Your soul will thank you. Okay, and then over here, interesting that we have the Devil card in the reverse and we have detox. Detox. Drink a smoothie, unfriend that asshole, and throw some shit out. Yeah, okay, all right. Let's see what your affirmation is, and then we'll be done with you for this month. Happy birthday again, Leo. I hope that this was helpful for you. You know, that's one of the biggest reasons that I do tarot, and why I enjoy tarot so much is because it is a very therapeutic practice that can really provide you insight. None of what I'm telling you isn't common sense, but sometimes we just need that friend, that friendly you know, voice or card. And again, we have two out here to tell us what we need to hear, what we don't want to hear, but we kind of intellectually know we need to. I am spiritually connected. And then also, I am in love. And maybe really, essentially, overall, what you need to do is realize that you are in love with yourself, or fall in love with yourself again. Okay? Because it seems like we have some energy here that's really trying to uncouple you from yourself. Okay? Anyway, I hope that was helpful for you. Please, if this made any sense or it resonated, give us a thumbs up. We will see you when we see you next. Please do check your rising, moon, and Venus sign for anything else that you might feel you need to hear in regards to this stuff. And we'll see you when we see you next. Thanks, Leo. Bye.